hard to put the faith in that without making a declaration of unbelief at the same time. They're kind of, we're kidding ourselves if there isn't a measure of unbelief involved. Be careful with those golden calves you're dragging around. Just be careful. Because at a certain time, in a certain place, the thing that you thought you had under control, be careful. If nothing else, which there's tons and tons, but if nothing else we got out of the Bible, there are consequences. And you don't have to find yourself, why are you so angry? If you can deal with the anger issue, then sin won't be able to get a grip on you there. You got to deal with the issue there. What's bugging you, Cain? Or like you say, we've got a different way. Look, I'm old, man. I'm like seriously old. I'm not stupid. We've got a nice young babe over there. She's in ripe years. That must be the way God's going to do it. But that's where she came from. I always find that fascinating. If you don't go down to Egypt to begin with, if you don't start seeking dead things, you don't go into the Badlands to begin with, and then come up with something that you think, this is all right. Colossians 2:20, and then read through the 3rd chapter, verse 3.
Therefore, if you died with Christ from the basic principles of the world, why, as though living in the world, do you subject yourselves to regulations? Do not touch, do not taste, do not handle, which all concern things which perish with the using according to the chemistries of man. These things indeed have an appearance of wisdom in self-imposed religion, false humility, and neglect of the body, but are of no value against the indulgence of the flesh. If then you are raised with Christ, seek those things which are above, where Christ is sitting at the right hand of God. Set your mind on things above, not on things of the earth. For you died, and your life is hidden with Christ in God.
Paul says, it's what you're setting your mind on. And he does list, you do realize these things are garbage. It might smell good, but it's garbage. So, you're not garbage. And if you're seated in heavenly places in Christ Jesus, which we are, with him, then seek those things that are above. That's what you want to set your mind and your heart on. John chapter 20, verses 11, 12, and 13.
But Mary was standing outside the tomb weeping, and so as she wept, she stooped and looked into the tomb. And she beheld 2 angels in white, sitting one at the head and one at the feet, where the body of Jesus had been lying. And they said to her, Woman, why are you weeping? She said to them, Because they have taken away my Lord, and I did not know where they have laid him.
So the question is asked of her, why are you weeping? Now that's not it's a why question again, but it's not why do you do something, but it's why are you? This is a different question. Why are you? In other words, it's not about doing something, it's about being something. Why are you weeping? Anybody ever ask yourself at any point in your life, why am I? We very quickly go towards, what am I doing here on earth? We gravitate very quickly towards doing, but there's a more profound question that has more than what you're doing. Why are you? In other words, the question is one of being, not doing. And psychology is having a field day with this, answering questions about your being. It's not a matter of doing. It's a matter of being, which is why religion is a waste of time, because all religion does, it doesn't give us anything to hold on to other than a list of do's and don'ts, which is what makes it dead. That's not where the life is, do this and don't do that. That's not where the life is. The life is in you, and your being. The question is about being. What causes a lot of our emotions? Stop and think about that. That means tons of emotions. In this case, it's weeping. But there's tons of different emotions that we all experience. Do you ever notice, like with emotions, you don't I think I'll get mad now. Or maybe you do. I don't. I just, all of a sudden, it's almost like I'm overwhelmed with an emotion. But there is a way to get to the root of what is causing the emotion. And usually it falls on either side, not all the time, of love or fear. That's kind of like what motivates it. But that's not the question, what. The question here was why. Why are you weeping? And I think that the two that came to mind immediately was, I would say, well, I am something. I mean, you're asking me, why are you weeping? So I'm going to answer about me. I am whatever. Or because, and I come up to David like David says, usually an event. I'll give you an event. And we can live with those. But it has to go deeper than that. The why has to go deeper. Because there really is a why down deeper there. That usually love and fear are going to be down there. I mean, think of Mary at the tomb, madly, and I don't mean inappropriately when I say this, madly in love with Jesus. She loved walking with him. She loved being with him. She saw how he was with people. She saw the smile, the physical things about him. Saw his patience, how good he was, how truthful he was, how well put together he was. He was ticking over when it comes to wholeness. I mean, she saw, and he's dead. She's at a tomb, and they've taken his body, which is a false conclusion. It's interesting sometimes how we cry about false conclusions. It's not true. They didn't take his body, but that's what she says. That's what she thinks. And I want to say this, because this is the point of this question for me. Regardless of whether we're expressing an emotion unreasonably or if we've got a good reason, regardless of what it is, David says, he restores my soul. And I absolutely love that. He does not cross-examine me and say, you know what? You really shouldn't be feeling the way you're feeling, Keith. He doesn't even go there. It's like, I know the way you're feeling, and I'd like to restore you back to a place of wholeness and health. That's what the Lord wants. That's what our Good Shepherd, that's what he wants. He just wants to restore us. See, it's up to us to kind of answer the questions within ourselves. Why am I doing this? Why am I feeling this way? Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't talk to each other and counselors, and I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that, you know, if we are going to a counselor believing that a counselor is going to do something, we might be going to a dead thing, to be honest with you. We might be in a tomb. Because really, where we want to go is to the one who has life. Like Peter says, where am I going to go? You're my life. And I like what you just said about Mary. Where have you put my Lord? You know what kind of statement that is? That's almost like saying, where have you put me? Because we are like so connected and so one. I am his and he is mine. Where have you put my hope? Where have you put my dream? I didn't put him there. You did. And I want to know where he is. I want to know where you put him. Psalm 34:18.
The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit.
Why? What did I do? That's just what he does. He really, really loves doing that. Psalm 51:16 and 17. Somebody got that?
For you do not desire sacrifice, or else I would give it. You do not delight in burnt offering. The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, and a broken and a contrite heart. These, O God, you will not despise.
You see what he's saying? You know, I'd like to be able to buy the mercy from you. I'd like to be able to do something to motivate you to do. But I know you're really not interested. You're not interested at all in my sacrifices, are you? When you see me suffering, that's enough of a sacrifice to motivate you to do something in my heart and my life. This is a different God than the ones the world makes, or that you'll ever find in a religion. A religion is one of, yeah, but you got to do this. You got to get God in a half Nelson. If you don't know what a half Nelson is, it's a wrestling hold, or like a stranglehold. You got to, like Jacob, he wrestled with God. Hey, give me the blessing, give me the blessing. And this is quite clearly, he was trying to take something from God already gave him. But religion will make you do that. Religion will make you nuts. Absolutely nuts. And you'll start thinking things about God. You'll make God in our own image. You figure, well, this is the way I am, so this must be the way God is. The exact opposite of the way he actually is. Isaiah 57:15.
For thus says the high and exalted one who lives forever, whose name is holy. I dwell on high and holy place, and also with the contrite and lowly of spirit, in order to revive the spirit of the lowly and to revive the heart of the contrite.
We could read a lot of different passages like this. We could also read Isaiah 61, where once we get through the anointing, everybody goes nuts. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, for he's anointed me to preach good news to the poor, and we go down that whole thing. And then as you work your way through, you get to that, just after that, it describes that we are the anointed ones. We are the ones that are outside the tomb. We are the ones that are supposed to loose them. We are the ones that are supposed to restore them. We are the ones that are supposed to repair those cities that are broken down. We're just waiting there. Who will roll away the stone? You roll away the stone. When he comes out, loose him, repair him. Restore him. Forgive him if he's done something to you. Last question is still in John 20. I'm not going to say it's the most important one, but it's the one that the most important one asks, Jesus himself. Verses 14, 15, and 16 in John 20.
Now when she had said this, she turned around and saw Jesus standing there, and didn't know it was Jesus. Jesus said to her, "Woman, why are you weeping? Whom are you seeking?" She, supposing him to be the gardener, said to him, "Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where you have laid him. I'll take him away."
Did you notice Jesus doesn't wait for an answer? Why are you weeping? He doesn't wait. I mean, he asked the question. He asked the same question that the angelic beings asked. Why are you weeping? But then he immediately knows, and all of us should know, those two questions. Why are you weeping? Who are you seeking? They go together. It might as well be one question. Why are you weeping? Because see, depending on who you're seeking will determine why you're weeping. In Mark, they had asked each other, who's going to roll away with who will? And John 11, Jesus says, you will. And he doesn't leave any room between why and who because they're connected. Whatever stone is rolled across the door to our hearts is removed by him and by us. Many things we ask, oh God, take this away. Many times he's at the other side. I'd love to if you'd let go of it.